Measuring the results of a social media campaign can be tricky. Some tools haven't quite matured enough to give us accurate representations of how much ROI, for example, was garnered from an event. I've done a lot of research in trying to find something that works well, and there's a lot of tools that give different scores, like a Klout score, or Facebook has really great insights in telling you how many people engaged and how many people shared, and those are all very valuable, but translating that into business lingo is kind of challenging. It's why it's so important to have a dedicated social media manager, and people are going to start figuring that out more and more, and there's going to be more and more opportunities for students and graduating students to get jobs in the field. What I've found is that you have to have somebody reading all the tweets and reading all the Facebook posts. That could be a lot. For our team, when we have a big event, it could be thousands and thousands of comments. We have some interns that help us gauge just how many positive versus negative versus neutral comments we receive, or how much are engagements, how much are retweets, how much are negative and critical. Right now, we have to do it. I have to do it basically on a custom level, and I know my business, my company inside and out, so I know what's valuable to them. I know what good responses from customers are for them, and so I weigh that against all social media responses. So measuring has a lot to do with engagement, has a lot to do with how many people took the bait, so to speak, and responded or engaged from your post and things like that. I determine if a social media campaign is effective based on how much engagement we get from fans. We recently did a special giveaway with Easy Up tents. Everyone wants an Easy Up tent. You have a picnic, you have a party, you have some sort of event. It'd be nice to pop up an Easy Up tent and get some shade and shelter. And so what we did was I took a picture of an Easy Up tent that we were using at the track to keep our racing tires cool. It's a large tent. So I took a picture of this tent on the spot at the track, and I tweeted out the picture, and I asked the people to count how many tires were seen in this picture, and the first person to get the right answer won an Easy Up tent. It was tricky because there were about 24 tires stacked up on top of each other, but inconspicuously in the background there were some cars, so they had tires. There was a pit box that had rubber tires on it, and so I counted every tire. I said, how many tires are in it? And what it did was it spurred engagement because people wanted this tent, but it also was a very tricky and tough thing to answer. So we got 5,000 comments, which was our record on Facebook, and that was it was pretty exciting to have something that big and that successful. We ended up sending a tent off, and the person was very happy. And furthermore, we had 5,000 people that returned to our page to get content. They liked our page. They're always asking for more. So it's neat to really engage them in that way. We often use social media as a tool for customer service. We have a gift shop here at Joe Gibbs Racing that sells toys and merchandise, clothing, things like that. So we'll use social media to review how people like products. Sometimes people will write us in with a complaint about shipping or a question about returning, and so we'll answer that on the spot. Sometimes it's just as much as saying, hey, if you call our store manager or email our store manager, she'll be in touch with you immediately. Something as simple as that, so that people know that someone's listening. And we do that a lot. We also deal with the media a lot that way. For example, 2 years ago we introduced a new FedEx Racing paint scheme on the car. Prior to this year, the FedEx cars were all black, so they were kind of a simple standard design, but with this new scheme they unveiled this comet burst that started out from a white nose to an orange kind of flame back into a purple flame, and some people didn't like it. One of the media members said that it's an ugly car and it looks like a seagull. It ran into a seagull. And what was funny was that one of the most popular drivers in the sport, Dale Earnhardt, once lost a race on the last lap because 3 seagulls flew in front of him and damaged his car, and he lost the race. And he's a hugely popular driver. So I tweeted back on the spot a video of that incident with Earnhardt, and I said, well, hey, Dale Earnhardt tribute cars are some of the most popular in the sport, so we thought that's what we would do. and he loved it. He responded to our tweet and said, "This is one of the greatest tweets I've seen. I take it back." So we actually turned that negative feedback into positive feedback for our sponsor, and it really is a good-looking car. But you had that one media member that brought in kind of a criticism about it, and we were able to not react negatively to him, but turn it into a lighthearted exchange and actually reverse what he said. So it was kind of a neat way to take this guy who has about 12,000 followers and take that negative response and then turn it into a positive response. And it was big for our sponsor. If I was to give any advice to someone looking to get into social media, I would say do your homework and understand really what social media is. You have so many people now who don't know what it's good for and why they need it, but they know they need it because outside sources say they need it, like our team. I'm the only person here with really a creative or a technical degree in this area at least. But my bosses had the foresight to know that, hey, we need this to add value to our company, and we need it in order to bring on new partners. And so on my end, I have to be able to explain how it's valuable to the company in specific numbers kind of ways. I do that by giving a metaphor about social media. And I heard it from Gary Vaynerchuk, who's a prominent social media expert. He talked about back in the day, before the internet, before computers, when mom and pop stores were the most successful businesses in a little town. People would come in and it was all about word of mouth, it was all about getting to know your customer, it was all about service. And then the internet came along and things got a little less personal. You know, you couldn't get anybody on the phone, you never knew if an email was going to get read or responded to. And so the internet comes along and makes things impersonal. And what's funny is that now with social media, it's almost like the internet has matured and it's gone back to what's old. What's old is new again, to where personal one-on-one engagement is now king, because you have to be able to serve your customer or your client or whoever you're trying to reach with your product. In our case, sports and our sponsors. You have to reach them and please them on a one-on-one level. And you know, if you don't, it's not like the 50s where they're just going to go and tell their group of 12 friends. They could tell 12,000 friends now with social media, so it's all the more important. And I think those are basic things that all businessmen understand. And you have to be able to speak their language, and you have to be able to make sense of what you're doing. And it's valuable. People know it's valuable, but the more you can explain it, the more you can take it from being kind of a joke to showing the true value in it, the more valuable you're going to be as a person, and the more successful you're going to be with your campaigns. I would just encourage anyone looking to get into it to keep your mind open about it. It's such a new thing. There are foundations that you have to follow, but there are a world of possibilities. I always joke about wanting to write a book about people who are doing what I do in other fields like politics or other sports fields, or maybe in Hollywood or different things like that, because there have to be these tweeters, as I'm called here, out in all these different spheres that get to do crazy things and travel and be embedded with a personality. And it's only possible because of social media. And I really feel blessed and I'm amazed that I'm in this position. And it's really a neat opportunity. If you want to see some more of the stuff I'm doing online with Joe Gibbs Racing, you can go to joegibbsracing.com, which will have links to all of our social networks at the top left. Or you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, places like that. Pinterest, we're still exploring a little bit just to see how it fits with our brands. I wanted to thank you for listening to my answers to the questions, and if you have any questions yourself, always feel free to send me a tweet through our Joe Gibbs Racing outlets. You can also find me at Brian W. Cook on Twitter, which is Brian with a Y, W-C-O-O-K, and I'll try to answer you best I can. I don't always use social media in my off time because I do it so much for work, but I'll try to answer you pretty quickly on there. I appreciate it and wish you the best of luck in your endeavors.